among the developed countries, it's a country we are familiar with. It's all in this red line, it's called Singapore. We are worse than America. America is very bad and the worst. Then next is the UK. The countries with the best happiness index are the countries of Scandinavia, and they are all on this side. Denmark, Norway, Finland, Sweden. So therefore, if you want to understand why Singaporeans are so unhappy with the cost of living, the answer is here. Now, there is a website which I saw recently, where they invite people from around the world to submit data. How much does it cost to rent a house or to have a house? How much does it cost to have transport? How much does food cost and so on? And these are contributed by individuals around the world. They say, where are you from? I'm from Sydney. How much does it cost? They submit. And then these are data collected from many people. And I key and says, how does Singapore stand? The answer is, the cost of living in Tokyo is 14% cheaper than Singapore. We all know Tokyo is expensive, but that's not true. Some things are expensive, but after you take car and houses into account, it could be quite different. Next is New York is about the same as Singapore in cost of living, but in terms of wages, New York are much higher. And then Kuala Lumpur is half of Singapore. And then London is more expensive than Singapore, but Hong Kong and Sydney are cheaper than Singapore. So this is an indication of the cost of living. Next item is jobs. What's wrong with jobs in Singapore? Our biggest problem is competing with foreigners. And the foreigners, those on employment pass, these are the people from other countries. They come here and they get jobs at managerial, professional level. They pay no levy. The employer pay no levy. The number of people when Lee Hsien Loong become Prime Minister was 99,000. 5 years later, double. Next category is the category below that. The number was 44,000. It went up 4 times. The total number here, 300,000. These are the people who are competing with our white-collar people, workers. I go to the airport every month to do some consulting in Indonesia. I asked the taxi driver, what were you doing before? They were not bankers, but they were in trading, manufacturing, construction, and now they are taxi drivers. All these thanks to these people who compete in them for jobs. We are not talking about work permit holders, domestic maids, or construction workers. We are talking about categories that compete with our own people. Then you have this word, which I will say is the dirty word, it's called outsourcing. And the government outsourced cleaning jobs, guards, and other jobs. They outsource. What's the outcome of outsourcing? The contractor bid for the job, employ the workers that were retrenched at 30% lower. And the contractor gets the margin. The cost to the country is still the same. The workers get 30% less. Outsourcing is a dirty word. It's a way of depressing wages. Okay, and of course it is okay in countries where there's a minimum wage, but not in Singapore. Okay, so you continue to have this pressure. The outsourcing is, and of course what's very bad is the biggest, okay, not biggest, the government is active in doing outsourcing. When they should be setting the alternative, employ people and say this is the benchmark for salaries in different jobs. They do outsourcing and allow salaries to be depressed. Well, public transport, no. This is quite common. If you take a train, it's peak hours, it's like that. Alright? And then, after 2 years of no fare increase, the government now has the courage to approve through the PTC, which we all think is not that independent, a fare increase of 3-4%, and the amount of increase is $53 million a year. Of course, the ordinary people were very angry with this kind of train breakdowns and congestion. You still want to increase, okay? Then I take a look, and what I saw, very few people did a research. I'm like Lian here. I also look at the internet for research, and the figure shocked me. How much does the government collect in COE? It's called Vehicle Quota Premium. In the year 2011, they collect $2 billion. 2,000 million. In the year 2012, they collect 2.5 billion. 2,500 million. Even if they say we need 2 million to survive, the increase is 500 million. That's 2012. You guess what's the amount in 2013? 3 billion, that's my guess. Just by looking at the COE price increase, it's 3 billion. So that's the amount. You mean after you collect 3 billion, you cannot take 2% and say we will fund the increase. So the citizens don't even have to pay until public transport become more comfortable. You mean you can't? Okay, so this is, you think you got a good finance minister, is he using the money appropriately? Alright, so healthcare, of course, citizens are worried, will MediShield Life be more costly? The answer is yes. Okay, so our Prime Minister says, we are going to give to the pioneer generation. And the pioneer generation is people who are 65 this year. I belong to the pioneer generation. But most of you, then maybe, are you? Most of you are not. Now, when the government says pioneer generation, this is what the government does. They do cut off. You are okay to get it. The rest don't get it. You may live until 90 years old. According to the current one, you're not pioneer generation. I don't know whether you will get it. But I don't like this kind of cutting according to when you were born. At least you can say, okay, we will give to people when they reach 65. Doesn't matter when you reach 65. You don't implement this thing called you cut one generation, and then after that, other people. Of course, they practice this earlier on with the baby boomers. If your baby was born last year, you get nothing, and this year you get 20,000. That's nothing. I don't like this kind of policy. It's most unfair. Just because you're on the wrong side, you get nothing, and then the other side they get a lot. But of course, Singaporeans are also not very appropriate. You get, you are happy. And you don't get, you complain. You don't know what is fair. If you get, other people in similar circumstances should also get. You only take care of yourself. So I think Singaporeans, we ourselves are doing it. Because we think if we can get a happy to thank the government, we forget that other people don't get. So I don't like this concept of pioneer generation. I said everybody wants to hit 65, give it. Right? Now, when you are going to give $300, for example, if I'm the finance minister, everyone above 65 gets $300 to pay for the higher health care cost. the cost is $100 million per year. We are spending 12.3 billion on defense. And if we take 100 million from here to pay for this, we still got 12.2. 12.3, 12.2 out. We also spend 11.6 billion on education. If we move from education to healthcare, 11.6 to 11.5 also. Okay, so our finance minister is the one who is supposed to do all these sums, and I want to tell him, I want to tell you, get a new finance minister. Okay, I'm not going to talk about education at 11.6, but I feel strongly a large part of it is wasted. We send people 4 years university to be an engineer, they come out to sell. It's like that. So many people are going to university at the state's money or using their parents' money, and they come out and do something else. And this is all part of the 11.6 billion. Okay, but that's a separate issue for 2015 budget. Okay. All right, my numbers are all taken from last year's budget. This is how the money was spent. Cost of doing business. Small companies in Singapore say very hard to survive. I run a small company. I know how hard to earn money and all the costs, wages, rentals, and other costs very high. And therefore I asked how many companies are profitable in Singapore. I was shocked. And the figures are here, and there are a lot of figures. I want to use the key figures. Now, if the economy is moving properly, you expect 85% of companies to be profitable, 15% to be not profitable. That would be what my common sense says should be a proper economy. In Singapore, not profitable companies 106,000, profitable 57. 65% of companies are not profitable. 35% are profitable. You look at the numbers over the years, has been like that. For 10 years has been like that. Later on, you're going to ask me, if these companies are not profitable, how are they still surviving? We can discuss that. The next item is, maybe the company is not profitable, small. Sure, they are small. The total profit of profitable companies is 90 billion. The total losses of loss-making companies is 63 billion. The net profit is 26 billion. This is how lopsided our economy is. I call the IRAS. May I speak to an officer who can tell me how to interpret these figures? The answer I get is no. If you want, our website, you can read the explanation there. Now, the average loss per loss-making company was 210,000. 8 years ago, the loss is now 600,000. Now, if our businesses are not profitable, of course, when the government says pay higher CPF, sure they complain. Already they can't survive. Something is wrong in our economy. The way cost and other things are happening. I asked Mr. Leong, can you take a look at my figures and help me see whether I make any mistake? And he says, he replied to me, I'm also shocked to see the National service. For 25 years, even when I was in NUC income, I write to the newspaper. National service has to be changed. It is very costly to the country. And of course, let me tell you what is the impact of national service. First, we all know that national defense is important for Singapore. But like moderator, chairman, chairwoman say, appropriate. Are we doing things appropriately? Are we overdoing things? All right. Now, Singapore has 71,000 active soldiers. Half are regulars, the other half are NSmen. This one, I got no complaint. If you look at the numbers in neighboring countries, we do need 70,000. But I think the reservists, 950,000, is too high. Appropriate number for reservists is 400,000. Now, I carry out a petition, 4,000 people signed, and I ask you all to get more people to sign. The biggest complaint of the people who provide the feedback is not the full time. They say full time 2 years is okay, but they say it's the reservists. For 13 years, I have to call up for reservists, and I have to keep fit. If I don't keep fit, I will call up for remedial training, and this is disrupting my work. My employers don't like it. Okay. And I also have children to look after. My wife don't like it also. Because the children are sick and then she can't cope. So therefore, reservist training is excessive. We don't need 13 years, we only need 5 years. When you finish your ROD, 5 years you keep fit, and after that, you should you don't need to come back unless there's the war. When there's a war, you are called back. But other than that, you shouldn't be called back. So reservists, I think we should cut to 5 years. And then when you are ROD at 22, by 27, it's okay. For 5 years, you don't got married yet. And when you are married at 30, you shouldn't be called up for reservists. So my petition says reduce full-time national service to 1 year. And the reason is, most of the NS men say the first year they spend time on military training. The second year, they spend time waiting to be ROD. Or cleaning the place. Cleaning the place, waiting to be ROD, or preparing for National Day parade. We cannot waste our manpower like that. Our males come to work 3 years after the females. 2 years of the waiting time, according to come out. 3 years behind. And then they have to compete with foreigners. At one time they compete with girls, now they compete with foreigners. 3 years is very harmful. So I will say, let's cut short. I was in KL, my friend told me something I know all along. He says, Kim Lian, the 2 countries with the lowest birth rate in the world are Singapore and Taiwan. And the reason is nationalism. I know that all along, but of course our nation can see. Alright, so Taiwan, in spite of threat from China, decided they will scrap national service. When will Singapore reduce the I'm not asking to scrap. Overcrowding. So the 4 countries in the world with the highest rate of overcrowding, 2 of them are not countries. They are territories in China. The worst is Macau, followed by Monaco, followed by Singapore, followed by Hong Kong. We all know China and India are very big population, but they are not so overcrowded. All right, in terms of population per square kilometer. My wish years, if I were the finance minister, I will take 53 million from COE, give to the public transport company, so that citizens don't have to pay higher fares. I will take $100 million from the defense budget, so that everybody above 65 can get $300 a year to pay for the increase in medicine life. I will stop outsourcing of public sector jobs, so that the public sector will employ people at various categories and set the benchmark for salaries for the private sector, so that becomes at least appropriate salary, appropriate for the cost of living. All right, and then reduce operating costs for business, so that 65% don't have to be losing money. This one we have to discuss how this is being done. Stop overcrowding, so keep population at 5.3. Don't go to 69. And then reduce full-time national service to 1 year, shorten reservist training to 5 years after ROD, and stop remedial training. Okay, so those are my wish years. And now I ask you, did our finance minister do a good job in the last 5 years? And did he recognize the progress of Singapore and all the progress that is shown here? Thank you.
Is the keynote speaker, so we will take about 10 minutes for any immediate questions to Mr.